My name is Cassandra No. I am a proud Canadian and a professional dancer, currently based in Los Angeles. And if you haven't already noticed, I was born with a birthmark that covers my entire right cheek. Now, I'm standing here today in this beautiful historic venue to talk about how my birthmark affected my life. Now, I know that some of you might have already come up to a conclusion that this is about to be a depressing TED Talk about how I had to overcome our cruel, hypocritical world. Well, you're wrong, and let me tell you why. People are often surprised when I tell them that I had the most wonderful childhood. I had my amazing family, as well as plenty of friends that loved me and loved my birthmark. I'll never forget one time when I was young, my best friend and I were playing around with makeup, and she looked at me and she said, I want one of those too. So I grabbed the face paint and the paintbrush, and I painted one on her face. And it's gotta be like the cutest story you've ever heard, am I right? But no, I had plenty of friends in elementary school, middle school, and when it came down to high school, I was even considered what we call a popular girl. Whatever that means, but that's a whole other TED Talk topic. We won't touch on that. But as you can see, I'm a pretty confident person, and I was always a really confident child, too, and I believe that a large part of that comes from my relationship with dance. I fell in love with the art of dance at a very, very young age. My mother enrolled me in my first dance class when I was 5 years old. Dance really forced me to come out of my shell, and it turned me into this super outgoing ball of energy. And by the age of 9, I was already traveling and competing all across Western Canada and kicking some butt, if I may say so myself. Every time I stepped foot on stage, I made sure that all eyes were on me. I knew from the get-go that being in front of an audience was the life for me, and I was going to do whatever it took to move to Los Angeles and make a career out of it. I'd been told by just a few, not to move to LA. They told me that it was going to be a world full of rejection and that it wasn't for me. So like any teenager would, I moved right to the heart of it all. I moved to Hollywood back in 2011, and I attended the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. I received my Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Dance Theater, and then proceeded on dancing at a professional level and succeeding at it. I never let the societal pressure to be normal prevent me from living my dreams. Which leads me to the question that I am continuously confronted with. Why did you keep it? I'm not gonna lie to you. There were a few times where I seriously considered getting my birthmark removed, and right before high school was one of those times. My parents and I made an appointment with a dermatologist just to see what our options were for the removal process. And my birthmark wasn't affecting my health in any way, and after having all these complex procedures explained to me, getting my birthmark removed just wasn't worth it for me. It really hurts me to see so many people ashamed of their differences. Our differences are not a reflection of our limitation. I've always known what I wanted for my life, and I've never let my birthmark stand in the way of that. There are still so many things I hope to achieve, and perhaps in the actual fact, my birthmark will help me achieve them. Because of my birthmark and my story, I am able to inspire so many people and show them that their dreams are possible. So tell me, why are we so obsessed with striving for normal? Not that there's anything wrong with normal, you're all great, and I promise, but people try so hard to look unique and stand out. Society shames us for being different, but there's also an immense pressure to stand out, and especially so for women. So people do things like dye their hair lime green, wear extravagant hats, or my favorite, a beautiful gown made of meat, the Queen Gaga, love her. But it's in this respect that I personally feel lucky. I really don't have to try that hard, just roll out of bed. But no, I feel lucky. Listen to this story. Okay, so one time, a while back, I was shopping at a supermarket, and a woman who I've never seen before approached me, and she said to me, "I think I was in the room the day you were born." Turns out she was one of the nurses. And I had to step back, and I thought, oh my God, she remembers me the day I was born. That's insane. Like, how many people can say that? Little did I know, just a few short years later, I would be known and recognized worldwide as, that's me. I'm so cute. Just kidding. I'd be known and recognized worldwide as Cassandra No, the girl with the huge birthmark. Last year was the year that I went viral. My face and my pictures were shared hundreds and thousands of times all over the internet. There were many different versions of my story, but they were mostly about overcoming adversity and accepting our differences. They were all positive, right? I went on to be interviewed quite a few times, and one of the questions that kept popping up was, did you ever get bullied as a child? There was some bullying, I'm not gonna lie to you, but honestly, I was always surrounded by so much love and support that I was easily able to overcome it. And that's usually what I told the media when they asked me this question. But for some reason, my answer was never good enough for them. In one of the interviews, the interviewer kept pushing that question over and over and over again. Did you get bullied as a child? And I got really stressed out and flustered, and the words, I had a lot of self-confidence issues growing up, came out of my mouth. And I thought to myself, why did I just say that? The interviewer had pushed me so much that I felt obligated to lie on national television. The truth is, I never had self-confidence issues. Prior to going viral, I didn't view my life as extraordinary or courageous. My birthmark wasn't the beginning or end of everything. My face and appearance wasn't this big pity party that I was living in. The media put a mirror in front of me and said, there's something different here. You're different, and you should be treated differently. Oh, and by the way, you should probably be bullied because of this difference. What kind of message does that send when we obsess over our differences and call each other brave or lucky for surviving in this world with the differences you're born with? I was so mad that the media chose to focus on the negative, so much on the negative, right? They chose words like huge and hairy to grab the reader's attention. In some of the articles, they even said this, and I just think it's hilarious. I'm still laughing about it today. They said, she even found love. Because apparently me having a boyfriend is a big deal and seems like it'd be a pretty hard thing to achieve. Basically, they're insinuating that a person with a difference, as small as a mark on their face, don't deserve love. And if they find it, they're lucky. And in my case, viral worthy. I've never had any trouble finding love, believe me. My boyfriend hates that part. The spin the media put on my story is part of the reason why people have so many big self-esteem issues. They make such big deals out of differences like mine and stories like mine. Much to the media's dismay, and contrary to the thousands of trolls living on the internet, keeping my birthmark was one of the easiest decisions I've ever made. Now, having said all of that, my story going viral has definitely been life-changing. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. Never in a million years would I have ever thought that I would have been able to inspire so many people. I'm constantly getting emails from people that I've inspired just by being myself. That being said, parents with children who also have birthmarks, as well as teenagers with low self-esteem issues, or even sometimes suicidal thoughts, have also reached out. Now, unfortunately, we live in a digital age, and it allows bullies to be anonymous and especially cruel, and the truth is there's very little you and I could do to stop them. We can, however, control our own thoughts. We can persevere in the face of adversity. We can choose to ignore the bullies and the societal pressure to be a certain way because we have each other. And if the bullying is too much, you know what? Just seek out and get support. Use technology to your advantage. Text helplines. You have friends out there. Although they may not be your neighbors or your peers, they're out there looking for someone just like you. Now, I'll occasionally get the occasional stare or the awkward gawking. And if that's the case, I just do what I always do. I simply smile back, and if that doesn't work, I bluntly say, it's a birthmark, and then walk away. Most people are just genuinely clueless and just need to be educated. And I think that having that kind of mindset is why I've been okay getting a little extra attention. Now, we've definitely come a long way. The fashion industry started looking at flaws as something to be proud of. They call it flawless. People like Sean Ross and Winnie Harlow are really making a difference, and they're really embracing their uniqueness, and people are looking up to them, including me. Now, we as a society still have a really long way to go, but I think that even me just standing here today proves that we're headed in the right direction. My entire TED Talk is based on the full spectrum of light, of completeness. And for me to achieve a full and complete life, I had to embrace myself. Thank you.